All right, if you're getting ready for an entry-level Python interview, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to break down a complete blueprint to help you walk in there prepared and, more importantly, walk out feeling confident.
So let's just get right into it. What's your game plan? Do you have a strategy for the kinds of questions they're going to throw at you? If not, no worries. Think of what we're doing here today as exactly that, your personal blueprint for crushing it.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. First, we'll talk about those initial icebreaker questions. Then we'll dive into some key concept showdowns, the real core stuff. After that, a little rapid-fire pop quiz. Then we'll cover the best way to talk about your projects. And finally, we're going to pull back the curtain on what the interviewer is really looking for. You know, every interview kicks off with the basics, but don't mistake these for simple warm-ups. These first few questions are actually a super effective way for the interviewer to get a quick read on your foundational knowledge. So first up, the big one. What is Python? Keep your answer sharp and to the point. You'll want to say it's a high-level interpreted language. And, interpreted just means you can write code and run it right away without a separate compile step, which is great for getting ideas off the ground fast. But the magic words they're listening for? Simplicity and readability. That's Python's whole identity. And that simplicity is exactly why it's so popular. It's not some happy accident. See, because it's easy to learn, a massive community has grown around it. And that community, well, they've built this gigantic ecosystem of libraries that makes Python a total powerhouse for basically anything. Web development, AI, data science, you name it. All right, warm-up's over. Now we get to the good stuff, the showdowns. This is where you prove you don't just know the definitions you memorized. This is where you show you actually understand the critical differences that make Python work the way it does. And it pretty much all starts right here, with this one idea. Mutable versus immutable. Just think of it like this. Is your data written in pencil so you can erase and change it? Or is it carved in stone, permanent? Getting this one concept unlocks like half the other puzzles in Python. And here's our first showdown, list versus tuple. This is that pencil and stone idea in action. A list is mutable. It's the pencil. You can add things, remove them, change them around. But a tuple? That's its immutable cousin. It's the stone. Once you make it, it's locked in. Knowing when to use which is just fundamental to writing safe, predictable code. Now for a classic question that's really designed to see if you've gone deep. What's the difference between double equals and is? The double equals, that just asks, hey, do these two things have the same value inside? But is asks a much more profound question. It asks, are these two things the exact same object sitting in the computer's memory? Let's make that really concrete. Look here. A and B are two totally separate lists. They just happen to hold the same values, 1 and 2. So if you ask if A equals B, the answer is true. Their values are the same. But if you ask if A is B, the answer is false. They're two different objects. Nailing this shows you're not just thinking about the code, but about how Python is managing memory under the hood, which is so important for avoiding really tricky bugs down the road. Okay, next up, object-oriented programming. You don't have to be a total master here for an entry-level role, but you have to know the core idea. It's about moving away from just writing lines of instructions and instead creating these objects that bundle up their own data and their own behaviors. It's just a really powerful way to keep your code organized, structured, and reusable. And these right here are the big ideas, the pillars that hold up all of OOP. Now don't panic, you don't need to recite all of them, but understanding a couple is huge. Take inheritance, for instance. It's basically like a child class inheriting traits from a parent class, which lets you build specialized things from general blueprints. Or encapsulation. That's all about bundling your data and the functions that work on that data together in one neat package, protecting it from the outside world. Just knowing these terms shows you get the bigger picture of how modern software is built. Okay, deep breath. Time for a gear shift. We're heading into the pop quiz. This section is all about speed and accuracy. They're going to show you a little snippet of code, and you've got to predict what it does, like instantly. Let's try a couple. First one, we've got x equals 5 and y equals 2. What's the output when you print x/y? Go on, take a second. Got an answer in your head? The answer is 2. And why? Well, that double slash isn't your normal division. It's floor division. So it does the math, gets 2.5, and then chops off the decimal, rounding down to the nearest whole number. It's simple, but it's a classic gotcha if you don't know what that operator does. Okay, quiz number 2. We've got a list here named A.
what's going to print out when we ask for a-1? This one's all about how you navigate through sequences in Python.
And the output is 3. This is one of my favorite features in Python, negative indexing. Instead of always starting from the front at index 0, -1 just means give me the very last item. -2 would be the second to last, and so on. It's just so clean and, well, it's very Pythonic.
All right, now we are moving on to what might just be the single most important part of the entire interview. This is where you stop just answering their questions and you start telling your story, the story of something you actually built. But look, a good story needs a good structure. You can't just ramble. Follow this 5-step framework right here, and your explanation will be clear, concise, and really impressive. You start with the why, the problem. Then you cover the what and the how. And then you show some real self-awareness by talking about the challenges you faced and what you do next to improve it.
And here's what that looks like in action. See how that's not some long, boring speech? It's a tight, structured summary. It hits the problem, the tech, and a specific challenge. This is exactly what an interviewer wants to hear. It's clear, it's confident, and it tells them everything they need to know.
And finally, let's pull the curtain all the way back. After all these questions, the basics, the pop quiz, your project story, what is the interviewer's real goal? I promise you, it's not about just ticking boxes to see if you got the right answers. It's about something way, way deeper. And here it is. This is the ultimate secret. They want to see that you genuinely understand the concepts, not that you've just memorized a bunch of answers from the internet. Because look, memorization is fragile. It breaks under pressure. True understanding, that's what lets you solve problems you've never even seen before. And when you have that real understanding, it shows up as these qualities. Your logic, that's what you proved in the output quiz. Your clarity, that's what shined through when you explained your project. Your confidence comes from knowing the fundamentals inside and out. And all of that together points to the one thing they're really hiring you for, your potential as a problem solver on their team. So we'll end on this thought. You have the blueprint now. You know the kinds of questions to expect, and you have a structure for your answers. The only thing left is for you to build something. So what problem are you going to solve? What's your project story going to be?